Maya Brooks thought delivering packages was just a job to pay the bills and support her 3 boys. She had no idea that one wrong address would shatter the carefully built walls around her heart. When she knocked on apartment 21A instead of 21B, the man who answered the door was the same one who had disappeared from her life 5 years ago, leaving her pregnant and alone. But Evan Hale wasn't just any deadbeat dad. He was now a millionaire tech investor living in luxury, while she struggled as a single mother. The moment her triplet boys looked up at him with his own dimpled smile, Maya realized her secret was about to explode in ways she never imagined. What she didn't know was that this accidental reunion would trigger a chain of events involving jealous family members, media scandals, and a love that refused to stay buried. If you're watching this incredible story unfold, hit that subscribe button and tell me what city you're watching from. I love connecting with viewers from around the world. The hallway was quiet. Too quiet for a Friday afternoon. Evan Hale liked it that way. He could work without noise from neighbors, no kids running around, no drama. The doorbell rang. Evan looked up from his laptop. He wasn't expecting anyone. He never was. His penthouse apartment was his safe space. Private, peaceful. The bell rang again. Evan walked to the door and looked through the peephole. A woman in a green delivery uniform stood there. She held a big brown box that looked heavy. Her face was turned away as she checked something on her phone. He opened the door. "Package for Unit 21B, she said without looking up. Her voice sounded familiar, but Evan couldn't place it. "This is 21A, he said. "You want the apartment across the hall." She looked up then. Her eyes went wide. The phone slipped from her hand and clattered on the floor. "Maya," Evan whispered. Maya Brooks, his college girlfriend, the one who'd gotten away, the one he'd hurt with his cold silence 5 years ago. She looked exactly the same, except her hair was shorter now. Her brown eyes still sparkled when she was surprised. "Evan," she bent to pick up her phone, her hands shaking a little. I didn't know you lived here." The elevator dinged behind her. 3 little boys ran out, laughing and talking over each other. They were all about 5 years old. They had backpacks and soccer cleats tied around their necks. The boys stopped when they saw Evan. All 3 pairs of eyes stared at him, brown eyes, just like Maya's. But that wasn't what made Evan's heart stop. It was the dimples. Each boy had the same dimple in his left cheek, the exact same dimple that Evan saw in the mirror every morning. "Mummy, who's that?" the smallest boy asked. He had glasses and carried a small inhaler. "This is Mr. Hale," Maya said quickly. Her voice was tight. "He lives across the hall." The tallest boy stepped forward. He was clearly the leader of the 3. "He looks like us," he said. Then his face lit up with recognition. "He's the man from Mummy's pictures." Maya's face turned red. "Eli, that's enough." But Eli wasn't done. He walked right up to Evan and looked up at him with curious eyes. "Are you our daddy?" The hallway went silent. Evan felt like he couldn't breathe. Maya looked like she wanted to disappear. "Boys, take your backpacks inside," Maya said. Her voice was calm, but Evan could see the panic in her eyes. "I'll be right there." The quiet boy with dark eyes picked up the box Maya had dropped. The one with glasses helped. But Eli stayed put, still staring at Evan. "Come on, Eli," the quiet one said softly. "Mom needs to work." Eli finally followed his brothers into apartment 21B. Evan could hear them talking in excited whispers as they disappeared inside. Maya stood in her doorway, still in her delivery uniform. She looked exhausted. There were worry lines around her eyes that hadn't been there in college. "Thank you for the redirect," she said. Her voice was polite, too polite, like they were strangers. But they weren't strangers. They had history, and apparently they had 3 little boys who looked exactly like Evan. "Maya, I have to get back to work," she said quickly. "The boys need dinner, and I have 3 more deliveries tonight." She started to close the door, but Evan put his hand out to stop it. "Can we talk?" he asked. "Please?" Maya looked at him for a long moment. There was hurt in her eyes, old hurt that had never healed. "Not tonight," she said finally. "I can't. Not tonight." The door closed with a soft click. Evan stood in the empty hallway, his mind racing. 3 boys, 5 years old, with his dimples and Maya's eyes. His legs felt shaky. He leaned against his door and tried to think. Maya had been pregnant when they broke up. She must have been, but she never told him. Why hadn't she told him? Evan remembered their last fight. He'd been scared of commitment, scared of letting anyone get too close. He'd started pulling away, sending short texts instead of calling, acting cold when Maya tried to talk about their future. She'd stopped trying after a few weeks. He'd thought she didn't care. But maybe she'd been trying to tell him something important, something life-changing. Maybe she'd been trying to tell him about the babies. The elevator dinged again. Evan looked up to see another delivery person walking toward Maya's door. This one carried grocery bags that looked too heavy. Maya opened her door before the deliverer could knock. She must have been watching through the peephole. "Groceries for Brooks," the young man said. Maya reached for the bags, but they were heavier than she expected. The plastic handles broke, and food spilled everywhere. Apples rolled across the hallway floor. A box of crackers split open. "Oh no," Maya said. She looked like she might cry. Evan was out of his apartment before he could think about it. He knelt down and started gathering the scattered groceries. "You don't have to," Maya started. "It's okay," Evan said. He picked up apples and put them in the one bag that hadn't torn. "I've got it." The boys appeared in the doorway. The one with glasses saw his inhaler rolling toward the elevator and started to panic. "My inhaler," he wheezed. Evan was closest. He caught the inhaler just before it rolled under the elevator doors. He brought it back to the little boy, who was breathing hard. "Here you go," Evan said gently. "Are you okay? Do you need to use it?" The boy shook his head, but he held the inhaler tight against his chest. "That's Aiden," Maya said quietly. "He has asthma. That's his rescue inhaler." "Aiden," Evan repeated. He liked the name. "That's a strong name for a strong kid." Aiden smiled a little. His dimple showed. "I'm Noah," the quiet boy said. "And this is Eli." "Nice to meet you all," Evan said. He meant it. These boys were beautiful, smart, polite, and they might be his sons. The thought hit him like a truck. He might be a father. These three amazing little boys might be his children. Maya finished gathering the groceries. She looked overwhelmed. "Thank you," she said to Evan. "You didn't have to help." "I wanted to," he said. The elevator dinged again. Mr. Cho, the building manager, stepped out. He was a kind older man who always wore a smile. "Everything okay here?" Mr. Cho asked. "Just a spilled grocery bag," Evan said. "All fixed now." Mr. Cho looked at Maya and the boys. "You must be our new residents in 21B. Welcome to the building." "Thank you," Maya said. "We're still getting settled. If you need anything, just let me know," Mr. Cho said. He looked at the boys with their soccer cleats. "There's a good playground 2 blocks away, and the elementary school is very close." "We know," Eli said proudly. "We start on Monday." Mr. Cho smiled. "How exciting. I'm sure you'll love it here." The old man got back in the elevator and waved as the doors closed. Maya turned to her boys. "Come on, guys. Let's get this food inside and start dinner." The boys started to go in, but Eli turned back to Evan. "Will we see you again?" he asked hopefully. Evan looked at Maya. She was watching him carefully, waiting to see what he'd say. "I live right across the hall," Evan said to Eli. "So I'm sure we'll run into each other." "Cool," Eli grinned and ran inside. Aiden and Noah waved shyly before following their brother. Maya lingered in the doorway. "Evan, I know," he said quickly. "You don't owe me any explanations. Not yet." She looked surprised by his answer. "But maybe we could talk sometime," he continued. "When you're ready. When it works for you and the boys." Maya nodded slowly. "Maybe." She started to close the door, then paused. "There's a lounge on this floor," Evan said. "If the boys need more space to run around while you're getting settled, it's at the end of the hall, always empty in the evenings." "Thank you," Maya said. Her voice was softer now. That's really thoughtful." She closed the door gently. Evan stood in the hallway for a long moment, listening to the sounds coming from apartment 21B. Kids laughing, Maya's voice explaining something about homework, the TV turning on to cartoons, family sounds. Evan had never thought about having a family. He'd been too focused on work, too scared of getting hurt, too good at being alone. But now, hearing those sounds from across the hall, something inside him shifted, something he'd never felt before. He wanted to be part of it. 2 hours later, Evan heard Maya's door open. He looked through his peephole and saw her in the hallway with the boys. They were dressed in pajamas and carrying juice boxes. She knocked on his door softly. Evan opened it, and Eli immediately grinned at him. "Mom said we could check out the lounge," Eli announced. "Want to come with us?" Evan looked at Maya. She shrugged. "They've been cooped up in the apartment for 2 days," she said. "They need to burn off some energy before bed." "I'd like that," Evan said. The lounge was at the end of the hall. It had comfortable couches, a big TV, and floor-to-ceiling windows that looked out over the city. The boys ran straight to the windows to look at the lights below. "Wow," Aiden breathed. "You can see everything from up here." Maya sat on one of the couches. She looked tired but more relaxed than she had earlier. "How long have you lived in the building?" she asked Evan. 3 years, he said. He sat in a chair across from her, not wanting to crowd her. "I bought the penthouse when I sold my first company." "You're doing well," Maya said. It wasn't a question. "I've been lucky," Evan said. "Good timing with tech investments." Maya nodded. She watched the boys explore the room, making sure they didn't touch anything they shouldn't. "What about you?" Evan asked. "Are you still baking?" Maya's face lit up a little. "Part-time. I work for a delivery app during the day to pay the bills, but I bake wedding cakes on weekends." "That's amazing," Evan said. "You were always so good at that." "It pays for extras," Maya said. "Soccer cleats, birthday parties, things like that." Evan wanted to ask about the boys, about whether they were his, about why she'd never contacted him, but Maya looked fragile tonight, like she was barely holding everything together. "Mom, can we watch cartoons?" Noah asked. He was the quiet one, but he had a sweet voice. "For a few minutes," Maya said. "Then we need to go back for teeth brushing." The boys settled on the big couch together. Eli found the remote and turned on a cartoon about talking animals. Aiden sat in the middle, with Noah and Eli on either side. They shared their juice boxes and pointed out funny parts to each other. "They're good kids," Evan said quietly. "They're everything to me," Maya said. Her voice was fierce, protective. "I know this is strange. I know you have questions, but they come first. Always." "I understand," Evan said. And he did. Whatever had happened between him and Maya 5 years ago, these boys were innocent. They deserved to be protected. "I moved here 2 days ago," Maya said suddenly. "I swear I didn't know you lived here. Tasha, my cousin, found this sublet last minute. Our old place had a mold problem. The boys were getting sick. Especially Aiden," Evan thought, looking at the inhaler the little boy kept close by his side. "I believe you," Evan said. Maya looked surprised. "You do? Why would you lie about that?" Evan asked. "If you'd wanted to find me, you could have. You know my last name. You know what I do for work." Maya's eyes filled with tears, but she blinked them back quickly. "I thought about it, finding you, more than once, but you didn't." "No." She looked down at her hands. "I didn't." Evan's phone lit up on the table between them. The caller ID said, "Mom." He declined the call without hesitation. Maya noticed. "You don't have to ignore your family because of us." "I'm not ignoring her because of you," Evan said. "I'm ignoring her because I don't want to deal with her drama tonight." Maya almost smiled at that. "Some things never change." "Some things do," Evan said, looking at the boys. "Some things change everything." On the couch, Aiden started to wheeze a little. Maya was up immediately, sitting beside him with his inhaler ready. "Just breathe, baby," she said calmly. "In and out, nice and slow." Aiden's breathing calmed down after a minute. He leaned against his mother's side, tired from the episode. "We should head back," Maya said. "It's past their bedtime." The boys protested, but they were clearly tired. Eli's eyes were drooping, and Noah was yawning. "Can we come back tomorrow?" Eli asked Evan hopefully. Evan looked at Maya. She hesitated, then nodded. "If it's okay with your mom," Evan said. "It's okay," Maya said quietly. We could try to keep things normal for them, while we figure everything out." In the hallway outside their apartments, Maya turned to Evan. "Tomorrow morning," she said. "Can we talk? Just the two of us?" "Of course," Evan said. "Whatever you need." "There's a diner on 5th Street, Sunrise Diner. Do you know it?" Evan nodded. He'd passed it many times but never gone in. "They have good pancakes," Maya said. "The boys love it there. We could meet at 8, before I take them to their new school for registration." "I'll be there," Evan promised. Maya opened her apartment door. The boys hugged her legs and started talking about their day all at once. "Thank you," Maya said to Evan, "for helping with the groceries, for the lounge, for being kind." "Thank you for letting me spend time with them," Evan said. "They're incredible kids." Maya's eyes filled with tears again. "They really are." She closed the door softly. Evan stood in the hallway, listening to the sounds of bedtime routines, water running, teeth being brushed. Maya reading a story in different voices for each character. He'd never imagined this, a family right across the hall. 3 little boys who might be his sons. Maya, looking older and more tired, but still beautiful. Still the woman he'd been too scared to fight for 5 years ago. Tomorrow they would talk. Tomorrow he might finally get answers to the questions that were keeping him awake tonight. But tonight, he just stood in the hallway and listened to the sounds of the family he might have had all along. The family he might still have a chance to be part of, if he was brave enough to try. In the morning, he would find out if Maya would let him earn that chance. The next morning, Evan was at Sunrise Diner 15 minutes early. He chose a booth in the back corner where they could talk privately. He ordered coffee and waited. Maya arrived right at 8 with all 3 boys. They were dressed for their school visit, khaki pants and polo shirts. Their hair was combed neatly, and they each carried a small backpack. "Mr. Evan," Eli called out when he saw him. He ran over to the booth and slid in across from Evan without being invited. Maya followed with Aiden and Noah. "Sorry," she said. "I couldn't find a babysitter on such short notice." "It's fine," Evan said. He meant it. He wanted to get to know the boys better anyway. "Can we sit with Mr. Evan?" Aiden asked politely. Maya nodded, and the boys arranged themselves in the booth. Eli stayed across from Evan. Aiden and Noah sat on either side of Maya. The waitress came over with menus and coloring books for the kids. Her name tag said Dolores, and she had a warm smile. "What can I get you folks?" she asked. "Pancakes," Eli said immediately. "Blueberry pancakes," Aiden added softly. "Just regular pancakes for me," Noah said, "with lots of syrup." Maya ordered eggs and toast. Evan asked for pancakes too when in Rome, he figured. "And chocolate milk for everyone?" Dolores asked the boys. They nodded eagerly. Dolores winked and walked away. "So," Maya said once the boys were busy with their coloring books, "we should probably set some ground rules." "Rules?" Eli looked up from his drawing of what appeared to be a dinosaur. "What kind of rules?" "Grown-up rules," Maya said gently. "About how we're all going to be neighbors and friends. Rule number 1, Evan said, looking at the boys. "No running in the hallway. Mr. Cho doesn't like noise." "Rule number 2, Maya continued. "Always ask before borrowing anything." "Rule number 3, Aiden said seriously. "Always carry your inhaler." His brothers nodded in agreement. Clearly this was a family rule they all knew by heart. "What other rules should we have?" Evan asked. "Be kind," Noah said quietly. "That's the most important rule." Evan's chest felt tight. This little boy was so thoughtful, so wise for 5 years old. "That's a perfect rule," Evan said. "Being kind is always right." The pancakes arrived, and the boys dove in enthusiastically. Eli immediately started picking out the blueberries and giving them to Aiden, who was apparently the blueberry lover of the family. Noah carefully cut his pancakes into perfect squares before adding syrup. "They each have their own way of doing things," Maya said, watching them fondly. "Tell me about them," Evan said quietly. "What should I know?" Maya looked at him carefully, as if trying to decide how much to share. "Aiden is the worrier," she said finally. "He thinks about everything. The asthma makes him cautious, but he's also just naturally careful. He loves books and asks a million questions." Evan watched Aiden methodically eating his blueberries one at a time. "Noah is my quiet observer," Maya continued. "He notices everything but doesn't say much until he's really thought about it. He's the peacekeeper when his brothers fight." "And Eli?" Maya smiled. "Eli is my little leader. He's fearless and bossy and thinks he can fix anything. He makes friends everywhere we go." "I can see that," Evan said, watching Eli chat with Dolores as she refilled their chocolate milk. "What about their father?" Evan asked quietly. The question he'd been dying to ask. Maya's face went still. The boys were distracted by their food, not listening to the adult conversation. "What about him?" she asked carefully. Is he?" Evan didn't know how to ask what he wanted to know. "He's not in the picture," Maya said firmly. "It's just me and the boys. It's always been just me and the boys." "By choice?" Evan asked. Maya looked down at her eggs. "It's complicated." Before Evan could ask more questions, Eli announced that he was done eating. The other boys followed suit, though they'd only eaten about half their pancakes. "Okay, guys," Maya said. "We need to get to the school for your visit." "Can Mr. Evan come?" Eli asked hopefully. Maya hesitated. "Mr. Evan probably has work to do." "I don't," Evan said quickly. "I mean, I do, but nothing that can't wait. If you don't mind me tagging along." "Please, Mom?" Aiden asked quietly. He could see our new school. Maya looked at Evan for a long moment. You really want to come to elementary school registration? I really do, Evan said. And he meant it. Okay, Maya said finally. But just to the school. After that, I need to take them home for lunch, and you probably need to get back to work. Deal, Evan said. As they walked to the school, Evan carried Eli's backpack, which seemed to weigh more than the 5-year-old did. The boys chatted about their old school and wondered what their new one would be like. Will the playground be big? Aiden asked. Will they have soccer? Eli wanted to know. Will the other kids be nice? Noah asked quietly. I'm sure it will all be wonderful, Maya said, but Evan could hear the worry in her voice. Moving was hard on kids. Starting over was scary. The elementary school was a pretty brick building with a big playground and colorful murals on the walls. Miss Delgado, the kindergarten teacher, met them in the main office. You must be the Brooks boys, she said with a warm smile. I've heard wonderful things about you from your previous school. The boys stood close to Maya, suddenly shy in the new environment. And you must be Dad, Miss, Delgado said to Evan. Evan froze. Maya's face turned red. Oh, no, Maya said quickly. This is our neighbor, Mr. Hale. He's being helpful today. Miss Delgado looked confused but smiled politely. Well, it's wonderful that you have such supportive neighbors. The tour went well. The boys liked the classroom, especially the reading corner and the art supplies. The playground was big enough for soccer, which made Eli happy. There was a quiet library where Noah could read during free time. Will there be other kids with inhalers? Aiden asked Miss Delgado seriously. Oh yes, she said. We have several students with asthma. The nurse is very experienced, and all the teachers know how to help if you need it. Aiden relaxed visibly. As they walked back toward the apartment building, the boys ran ahead on the sidewalk, staying where Maya could see them but burning off energy. Thank you, Maya said to Evan, for coming today. It helped them feel less nervous about Monday. Thank you for letting me come, Evan said. Miss Delgado seems great. She does. Maya paused. Evan, about what she said assuming you were their father. It's okay, Evan said quickly. I know it's complicated. Do you? Maya asked. She stopped walking and looked at him directly. Do you really know how complicated this is? Evan stopped too. The boys were still visible but out of earshot, examining something interesting on the sidewalk. Tell me, he said. Help me understand. Maya took a deep breath. 5 years ago, when we broke up, I tried to contact you, multiple times. What do you mean? I called. I texted. I even came to your apartment once. Maya's voice was quiet but steady. You never answered. And when you did respond to texts, you were cold, like you couldn't wait to get rid of me. Evan's stomach dropped. He remembered those weeks after their breakup. He'd been scared and angry and hurt. He'd ignored her calls because he thought she was going to yell at him. He'd kept his texts short because he didn't trust himself not to beg her to take him back. What were you trying to tell me? He asked, though he already knew. I was pregnant, Maya said simply. 3 months along, triplets, and I was scared and alone and I needed the person who said he loved me. Evan felt like the ground was shifting under his feet. Maya, but you were done with me, she continued. You made that very clear. So, I stopped trying. I wasn't done with you, Evan said desperately. I was scared. I thought you deserved better than me. I thought if I pulled away, it would hurt less when you realized I wasn't good enough. Maya laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. Well, it hurt anyway. A lot. Why didn't you try again? Later? When the boys were born? Pride, Maya said honestly. And fear. You'd made it clear you didn't want anything to do with me. I wasn't going to force you to be a father. They stood in silence for a moment. The boys had found an interesting bug and were taking turns looking at it through Aiden's reading glasses. I'm sorry, Evan said finally. I'm so sorry, Maya, for all of it. For being a coward. For making you think I didn't care. For missing. He gestured toward the boys. For missing everything. Maya's eyes filled with tears. I'm sorry too. For not trying harder. For making assumptions. For letting pride win. Where do we go from here? Evan asked. Maya wiped her eyes and straightened her shoulders. I don't know, she said honestly. But they're your sons, Evan. Biologically, at least. They have your dimples and your stubborn streak and your way of thinking everything through twice before acting. Your sons. The words hit Evan like a physical blow. He was a father. He had 3 beautiful, smart, funny sons. Can I? Evan started, then stopped. I don't want to assume anything. I don't want to push. But can I be part of their lives? Can I try to be the father they deserve? Maya looked at him for a long moment. They need stability, she said finally. They need consistency. They've been through enough changes with the move and the new school. If you're going to be part of this, you have to be all in. You can't change your mind if it gets hard. I won't change my mind, Evan said. I want this. I want them. I want to be the father I should have been from the beginning. Mom, Eli called from down the sidewalk. The bug has polka dots. Coming, Maya called back. She looked at Evan one more time. Okay, she said quietly. We can try. Slowly, carefully, for their sake. Thank you, Evan said. Thank you for giving me a chance. As they walked the rest of the way home, Evan felt like his whole world had shifted. He was a father. He had a family. It wasn't the way he'd imagined it would happen, but it was real. And maybe, if he was very careful and very patient, he could earn his place in this beautiful, complicated family across the hall. Maybe it wasn't too late after all. The rain started that afternoon while the boys were doing homework at Maya's kitchen table. Big drops splashed against the windows, and thunder rumbled in the distance. I love storms, Eli announced, looking up from his math worksheet. They're exciting. They're loud, Noah said quietly, covering his ears when the thunder got louder. Aiden just clutched his inhaler a little tighter. Changes in weather sometimes made his breathing harder. Maya was in the kitchen making snacks when the lights flickered. Then they went out completely. Mom, all three boys called at once. It's okay, Maya said calmly, feeling her way to the flashlight she kept in the kitchen drawer. Just a power outage. We'll have lights back soon. But she wasn't so sure. The storm was getting worse, and the building's emergency lights hadn't kicked in yet. There was a gentle knock at the door. Maya looked through the peephole and saw Evan holding a big flashlight. He had his phone out, probably using the light from the screen. She opened the door. Building manager says everyone should stay on their floors until the storm passes, Evan said. Power's out for the whole block. Could be a few hours. A few hours? Maya felt a flutter of worry. The boys didn't like being stuck inside for too long, especially when they couldn't watch TV or play their tablet games. I have an idea, Evan said. What if we have an indoor picnic? I've got battery-powered lanterns and plenty of food. The boys could spread out in my living room. Maya hesitated. Spending more time with Evan felt dangerous. She was starting to like having him around, and that scared her. But the boys were already getting restless in the dark apartment. Please, Mom, Eli called from the kitchen table. A picnic sounds fun. With flashlights? Aiden added hopefully. Maya looked at Evan. He was trying so hard to be helpful, to be present. Maybe she could trust him with this one small thing. Okay, she said. Let me grab some sandwiches from our fridge before everything gets warm. 20 minutes later, they were all sitting on blankets in Evan's living room. Battery-powered lanterns cast warm light around the room, making everything feel cozy instead of scary. The boys had never seen an apartment so big or so fancy, but Evan had put away anything breakable and told them to make themselves at home. This is like camping, Noah said, biting into his peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Except better, Eli added, because we're not sleeping on the ground. Aiden was quiet, but he seemed relaxed. The soft light from the lanterns was easier on his eyes than the harsh overhead bulbs in Maya's apartment. Do you go camping a lot? Evan asked the boys. We went once with Mom's friend Tasha, Eli said, but Aiden got sick from the smoke from the campfire. Just a little sick, Aiden said quickly. He didn't like people worrying about his asthma. Smoke bothers lots of people, Evan said matter-of-factly. I don't like it either. Aiden smiled at that. It was nice to hear that he wasn't the only one. What about you, Mr. Evan? Noah asked politely. Do you like camping? I've never been, Evan admitted. I'm more of a hotel kind of guy. You've never been camping? Eli was amazed. Not even once? Nope. Maybe you guys could teach me sometime. The boys exchanged excited looks. Teaching a grown-up something new sounded like fun. As they ate their picnic dinner, Evan asked the boys about their old school, their friends, and their favorite things to do. He listened carefully to their answers and asked follow-up questions that showed he was really paying attention. Maya found herself relaxing as she watched him with her sons. He wasn't trying too hard or talking down to them. He was just present, interested, kind. Mom, can we tell ghost stories? Eli asked after they'd finished eating. Not scary ones, Maya said quickly, looking at Noah, who didn't like being frightened. How about adventure stories instead? Evan suggested. Each person tells part of a story, and we keep adding to it. Yes, all three boys said at once. Evan started with a story about three brave explorers who discovered a magical island. Eli added pirates with friendly parrots. Noah contributed a hidden treasure that turned out to be a library full of talking books. Aiden imagined that the books could teach you anything you wanted to know just by touching them. Maya added a wise old woman who lived on the island and helped visitors find exactly what they needed. The boys loved that twist. What about you, Mr. Evan? Aiden asked. What happens next? Evan thought for a moment. The three explorers realized that the real treasure wasn't gold or jewels. It was the adventure they'd shared together and the friends they'd made along the way. That's a good ending, Noah said softly. That's a perfect ending, Maya agreed, looking at Evan with surprise. She hadn't expected him to understand what mattered to the boys, but he was learning fast. The lights flickered back on just as they were finishing their story. The boys groaned in disappointment. Oh, the picnic's over, Eli said sadly. We could have picnics other times, Evan said carefully. If your mum says it's okay. Maya found herself nodding. Maybe we could, sometimes. As they gathered up the blankets and lanterns, Aiden started wheezing slightly. The excitement and change in air pressure from the storm were affecting his breathing. Maya immediately went into mom mode, getting his inhaler ready and helping him sit down. Just breathe, baby, she said calmly. Nice and slow. Evan watched quietly as Maya handled the situation with practiced ease. He didn't try to help or offer advice. He just made sure the other boys stayed calm and gave Maya the space she needed. After a few minutes, Aiden's breathing returned to normal. Better? Maya asked. Aiden nodded. The storm makes it harder sometimes. I know, sweetheart. You did great. Evan walked them to Maya's door when it was time to go. The boys were tired but happy. Thank you, Maya said to Evan. That was really nice. The boys felt safe. They were safe, Evan said simply. They'll always be safe with me. Something in his voice made Maya look at him more closely. There was a quiet certainty there that she hadn't heard from him before, like he'd made a decision and meant to keep it. Good night, Mr. Evan, the boys called as they went inside. Good night, guys, Evan called back. Sweet dreams. Maya lingered in her doorway for a moment after the boys had gone to brush their teeth. Evan, she said quietly, can I ask you something? Anything. What you said to Miss Delgado today when she assumed you were their father. You didn't correct her right away. Evan was quiet for a long moment. I didn't want to, he admitted. For just a second, I liked how it felt. Being seen as their dad. Maya's heart did something funny in her chest. And now? How do you feel now? Now I want to earn it, Evan said. The right to be called their father. I know I have a long way to go, but I want to try. Maya nodded slowly. They need consistency, Evan. They need to know they can count on you. They can, Evan said. I promise they can. After Maya closed her door, Evan stood in the hallway for a few minutes, listening to the sounds of bedtime routines, water running for teeth brushing, Maya reading a story with different voices for each character, the boys giggling at the funny parts. For the first time in years, Evan didn't feel lonely in his big, quiet apartment. He felt like he was part of something bigger than himself. He felt like he was part of a family. The next morning, Evan was waiting in the lobby when Maya and the boys came down for their walk to school. He had 3 small boxes in his hands. What are those? Eli asked immediately. Backup inhaler cases, Evan said, handing one to each boy. Aiden, yours has your name on it and clips onto your backpack. Noah and Eli, yours are just for practice, so you know how to help if Aiden ever needs it. Maya's eyes went wide. Aiden looked down at the small blue case with his name written in careful letters. This is for me? He asked quietly. If your mom says it's okay, Evan said, looking at Maya. Maya took the case and examined it. It was well made and had a clip that would attach securely to Aiden's backpack. Having a backup inhaler at school would give her peace of mind. Thank you, she said to Evan. This is very thoughtful. But we can't pay you back right now. I don't want you to pay me back, Evan said. This isn't about money. This is about keeping Aiden safe. Maya hesitated. Accepting help from Evan felt like crossing a line, like admitting she needed him. It's just a backup, Evan said gently. You're still his mom. You're still the one taking care of him. This is just an extra safety net. Please, Mom? Aiden asked hopefully. I promise I'll be careful with it. Maya looked at her youngest son's hopeful face and made a decision. Okay, but this doesn't change anything, Evan. This isn't a promise of anything more. I know, Evan said. I just want to help. On the walk to school, the boys chatted about their first day at the new school. Eli was excited about meeting new friends. Noah was nervous about finding the bathroom and the library. Aidan was worried about telling his teacher about his inhaler. Miss Delgado already knows about your asthma, Maya reminded him, and the school nurse has your medication information. But what if she forgets? Aidan asked. She won't forget, Evan said confidently. Teachers are really good at remembering important things about their students, and if she does forget, you can remind her. That's what the backup inhaler is for. Aidan smiled and touched the blue case clipped to his backpack. Having a backup plan always made him feel better. At the school, other parents were dropping off their kids. A few of them looked curiously at Evan walking with Maya and the boys, but no one said anything. Miss Delgado was at the classroom door, greeting each student with a warm smile. Brooks, boys, she said happily. Are you ready for your first day? Yes, ma'am, they said in unison, the way Maya had taught them to respond to adults. Aidan, I have a special place for your backpack right next to the nurse's office contact sheet, Miss Delgado said. And there's a buddy system for recess, so you'll always have someone to help if you need it. Aidan's shoulders relaxed. This teacher really did understand about his asthma. Mom, you can go now, Eli said, suddenly eager to start his adventure. We'll be fine. Maya laughed despite herself. Her fearless 5-year-old was ready to conquer kindergarten. She hugged each boy goodbye, reminding them to be good listeners and to raise their hands if they needed help. I'll pick you up at 3, she told them. Can Mr. Evan come too? Noah asked hopefully. Maya looked at Evan. If he wants to, and if he doesn't have work to do. I want to, Evan said. I'll be here. As they walked away from the school, Maya felt the familiar worry that came with leaving her children somewhere new. But she also felt something else, relief. For the first time in 5 years, she wasn't doing this completely alone. They'll be fine, Evan said, noticing her worried expression. I know, Maya said. I worry about everything. It's my job. It doesn't have to be only your job, Evan said carefully. Maya stopped walking and looked at him. What does that mean? It means I'm here, Evan said. I'm not going anywhere. If you'll let me, I want to help carry some of that worry. Maya felt tears prick at her eyes. She'd been carrying everything alone for so long that she'd forgotten what it felt like to have someone offer to help. I don't know how to share this, she said honestly. I've been their only parent for their whole lives. I make all the decisions. I handle all the problems. I don't know how to let someone else in. We can figure it out together, Evan said. Slowly, one day at a time. Maya wiped her eyes and started walking again. You keep saying that, slowly. Because I mean it, Evan said. I'm not trying to rush you or push you into anything you're not ready for. I just want a chance to prove that I'm serious about this. They walked in comfortable silence for a few blocks. Maya was thinking about what Evan had said, about sharing the worry and the responsibility. It sounded wonderful and terrifying at the same time. Can I ask you something? Maya said as they reached their building. Of course. Why now? Why are you suddenly ready to be a father? 5 years ago, you couldn't even commit to a relationship. Evan was quiet for so long that Maya thought he wasn't going to answer. But finally, he spoke. 5 years ago, I was scared of failing, he said. I thought if I didn't try, I couldn't mess up. But seeing those boys, seeing what I missed, I realized that not trying is failing. I failed them before they were even born. He looked at Maya with eyes full of regret. I can't change the past. I can't give you back those 5 years of raising them alone. But I can promise you that I'm not that scared kid anymore. I want to be the father they deserve, even if it means risking getting hurt. Maya felt something shift inside her chest. This wasn't the same Evan she'd known in college. This one was older, steadier, more sure of what he wanted. Okay, she said quietly. Okay, what? Okay, we can try this. We can try sharing some of the responsibility. But there have to be rules. I'm listening. No big decisions without talking to me first, Maya said. No promises to the boys that you might not be able to keep. And if this gets too hard, if you decide you're not cut out for this, you have to tell me before you just disappear. I agree to all of that, Evan said. And I have a rule too. What? You have to actually let me help. Not just say you will, but really let me in. Let me learn how to be their father. Maya took a deep breath. That's the scariest one. I know, Evan said gently, but we're both scared. Maybe we can be scared together. Maya almost smiled at that. Maybe we can. As they got in the elevator, Maya's phone buzzed with a text from her cousin Tasha. How was the first day drop-off? Did you cry? Maya typed back, not yet, but the day is young. Evan read over her shoulder and laughed. Tasha's your cousin, right? The one who found this apartment? She's also my best friend, and the boy's aunt, and my personal bodyguard, Maya said. She's very protective of us. I'd like to meet her properly sometime, Evan said. If she's important to you and the boys, then she's important to me too. Maya looked at him with surprise. You want to meet my overprotective cousin, who will probably interrogate you and threaten you if you hurt us? Absolutely, Evan said without hesitation. Maya shook her head, but she was smiling. You really are different than you used to be. I hope so, Evan said. The old me lost the best thing that ever happened to him. I'm not making that mistake twice. The elevator dinged at their floor. As they walked to their apartments, Maya felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. Maybe, just maybe, this could work. Maybe her boys could have a father. Maybe she could have a partner. Maybe they could be a real family. It was scary and wonderful and completely terrifying. But for the first time in 5 years, Maya was ready to take the risk. At 3 o'clock, Maya and Evan were both waiting outside the school. Maya had finished her deliveries early, and Evan had rearranged his afternoon meetings. You didn't have to come, Maya said, but she was smiling. I wanted to see how their first day went, Evan said. Plus, I promised Noah I'd be here. When the school doors opened, kids poured out like colorful confetti. Maya spotted her boys immediately. They were walking together, with Eli in the lead as usual. Mum, Mr. Evan, Eli called, running toward them with his backpack bouncing. How was it? Maya asked, kneeling down to hug all 3 boys. Amazing, Eli said. I made 4 new friends and we played soccer at recess and I got a gold star for knowing all my letters. That's wonderful, sweetie, Maya said. But she was looking at Noah and Aiden, who were quieter. What about you guys? Evan asked gently. It was okay, Noah said. The library is really big, and the librarian said I could check out 3 books every week. And you, Aiden? Maya asked. Miss Delgado remembered about my inhaler, Aiden said proudly. And when I got nervous during math, she let me hold the backup case. It made me feel better. Maya's heart squeezed. Her careful, anxious little boy had made it through his first day at a new school. I'm so proud of all of you, she said, hugging them again. Can we go to the playground? Eli asked. Miss Delgado said there's a good one near here. Maya looked at Evan. Do you have time? I have all the time in the world, Evan said. The playground was 2 blocks away and much bigger than the one near their old apartment. There were swings and slides and a climbing structure that looked like a castle. The boys ran straight for the swings. Maya and Evan sat on a nearby bench where they could keep an eye on them. They seem happy, Evan observed. They're resilient, Maya said. They've had to be. Evan watched Aiden carefully navigate the climbing structure, taking his time and testing each step before moving forward. He's careful, Evan said. He has to be, Maya replied. One bad asthma attack when he was 3 taught him that his body has limits. That must have been scary for you. Terrifying, Maya admitted. I slept in his room for 2 weeks after we came home from the hospital. Evan felt a pang of guilt. He should have been there. He should have been the one staying up all night, worrying and watching and helping. I'm sorry, he said quietly. I'm sorry you had to go through that alone. I wasn't completely alone, Maya said. Tasha was there, and my neighbor Mrs. Patterson used to watch the boys when I had to work, and they were too sick for daycare. It sounds like you built a good support system. I had to, Maya said simply. Single moms don't have the luxury of falling apart. Evan was quiet for a moment, watching his sons play. Eli was teaching 2 other kids how to play some complicated game that involved running and jumping. Noah was pushing a little girl on the swing, making sure she was safe. Aiden was carefully sliding down the smallest slide, checking to make sure no one else wanted a turn first. They're good kids, Evan said. The best kids, Maya agreed. Sometimes I look at them and wonder how I got so lucky. You raised them well, Evan said. Whatever I missed, whatever mistakes I made, you did right by them. Maya felt tears prick at her eyes. I did my best. Your best was more than enough, Evan said firmly. Look at them. They're confident and kind and smart and funny. That's all you, Maya. A soccer ball rolled to their feet. Eli ran over to retrieve it, but instead of running back to his game, he plopped down on the ground in front of their bench. "Are you tired already?" Maya asked, surprised. Eli never ran out of energy. "No," Eli said. "I just wanted to ask Mr. Evans something." "What's that, buddy?" Evan asked. "Are you going to keep coming to pick us up from school?" Evan looked at Maya, who nodded slightly. "Would you like me to?" Evan asked. "Yes," Eli said immediately. "It's more fun when you're here." "Then I'll keep coming," Evan promised, "as long as your mum says it's okay." "What about when it gets cold?" Aiden asked, appearing at Eli's side. "And when it rains?" "I'll still be there," Evan said. "I'll bring an umbrella." "What about when we're sick?" Noah asked, joining his brothers. "Mom stays home with us when we're sick. If you're too sick for school, then I'll stay home too," Evan said. "If your mum needs help." Maya's heart did that funny flip again. The idea of having backup when the boys were sick was almost too good to believe. "What about Christmas?" Eli asked. "And birthdays? And when we lose teeth?" "All of it," Evan said seriously. "I want to be there for all of it. The fun stuff and the hard stuff, and the ordinary stuff too. Promise?" Aiden asked quietly. Evan looked at Maya one more time. She took a deep breath and nodded. "I promise," Evan said to his sons. The boys grinned and ran back to their games, satisfied with his answer. "You just made a pretty big promise," Maya said quietly. "I know," Evan said, "and I meant every word of it." They sat in comfortable silence, watching their children play as the afternoon sun filtered through the trees. For the first time in a long time, Maya let herself imagine what it would be like to share the load, to have someone else who cared about homework and skinned knees and bedtime stories. It felt dangerous to hope for that much happiness. But sitting there, watching Evan watch their boys with such obvious love and pride, Maya thought maybe it was worth the risk. Maybe they really could be a family. The thought should have terrified her. Instead, for the first time in years, it filled her with something that felt suspiciously like joy. 2 weeks into their new routine, everything was going better than Maya had dared to hope. Evan picked up the boys from school every Tuesday and Thursday. He joined them for dinner twice a week. He even helped with bedtime stories, doing funny voices that made the boys giggle. Maya was starting to relax, starting to believe this might actually work. That's when everything got complicated. It started with the photo. Maya was coming back from a grocery run when she noticed Mrs. Chen from down the hall taking pictures with her phone. At first, Maya thought she was just photographing the pretty flowers in the lobby, but then she saw what Mrs. Chen was really looking at. Evan was on his knees in the hallway, helping Eli tie his soccer cleats. Noah and Aiden were sitting beside them, waiting for their turn. They looked like a family, a real family. Mrs. Chen's phone clicked again. Maya's stomach dropped. She knew that look. She'd seen it before at their old apartment when nosy neighbors decided her business was their entertainment. "Excuse me," Maya said, walking up to Mrs. Chen. "Are you taking pictures of my children?" Mrs. Chen startled and tried to hide her phone. "Oh, no, I was just... The flowers are so pretty today." But Maya had seen the phone screen. She'd seen her boys on it. "Please delete those photos," Maya said firmly. "I don't know what you mean," Mrs. Chen said, but she was backing toward her apartment. "The photos of my children," Maya said louder. "Delete them. Now." Evan looked up from Eli's shoes. The boys sensed the tension and moved closer to him. "Is everything okay?" Evan asked, standing up. "Mrs. Chen was taking pictures of the boys," Maya said. Evan's face went hard. "Mrs. Chen, I'm going to need you to delete those photos." "It's a public hallway," Mrs. Chen said defensively. "I can take pictures if I want." "Not of children who aren't yours," Evan said. His voice was calm, but there was steel in it. "Delete the photos, or I'll call building security." Mrs. Chen huffed but pulled out her phone. She made a big show of deleting the pictures, but Maya knew that didn't mean much. People could save photos in lots of places. After Mrs. Chen disappeared into her apartment, Maya felt sick. "It's going to start all over again," she said quietly. "What's going to start?" Evan asked. "The gossip, the staring, the questions." Maya ran her hands through her hair. "At our old building, people used to make up stories about us, about why I had 3 kids and no husband, about who their father was. They acted like we were some kind of show for them to watch." The boys were listening with worried faces. "Are we in trouble, Mum?" Aiden asked. "No, sweetie," Maya said quickly. "You didn't do anything wrong." But inside, Maya was panicking. She'd moved here to get away from nosy neighbors and small-minded people. She'd wanted a fresh start for her boys, and now it was happening again. "Mom," Noah said quietly, "why was the lady taking pictures of us?" Maya knelt down to the boy's level. Sometimes grown-ups are curious about other people's families, but it's not okay to take pictures without permission. "Because we're strangers?" Eli asked. "Because you're children," Evan said firmly, "and your privacy matters." Maya looked up at him gratefully. He understood why she was upset. "Let's go inside," Maya said to the boys. "It's homework time anyway." But as they walked into her apartment, Maya's phone started buzzing with text messages. The first one was from a number she didn't recognize. "Is that the millionaire from the penthouse?" "Girl, you hit the jackpot." The second was from someone else. "Those boys look just like him. When's the wedding?" The third made Maya's hands shake. "Single mom with triplets lands rich baby daddy. Classic gold digger move." "Maya," Evan's voice seemed far away. "What's wrong?" Maya showed him the phone. His face went dark as he read the messages. "How did they get your number?" he asked. "I don't know," Maya said. She felt like she might throw up. "This is exactly what I was afraid of." The boys had spread their homework out on the kitchen table, but they kept looking over at the adults with worried faces. "I need to handle this," Maya said. "I need to—" Her phone rang. The caller ID said, "Unknown number." Maya almost didn't answer, but she was afraid it might be something about the boys' school. "Hello? Is this Maya Brooks?" The voice was female, professional sounding. "Who's asking?" "This is Jennifer Walsh from the Metro Daily. We're doing a story about wealthy men and their secret families. We have some photos we'd like to ask you about." Maya's heart stopped. "I have no comment." "But Miss Brooks, our readers would love to hear about how you and Mr. Hale reconnected. It's such a romantic story." Maya hung up and immediately turned off her phone. "A reporter," she said to Evan. "Someone called a reporter." Evan was already pulling out his phone. "I'm calling building security and my lawyer." "Your lawyer?" Maya felt dizzy. "This is exactly what I didn't want. I don't want lawyers and reporters and—" "Mom," Aiden's voice was small. "Are we in trouble with the police?" Maya realized her boys had heard everything. They were sitting at the table looking scared and confused. "No, baby," Maya said quickly. "No police. Some people are just being nosy, that's all." But Eli wasn't fooled. "Is it because of Mr. Evan? Because he's our dad?" The word hung in the air. Dad. None of them had used that word before. "Is that what you think?" Evan asked gently. "That I'm your dad?" All three boys nodded solemnly. Maya's heart broke a little. Her boys wanted a father so badly that they'd claimed Evan after just 2 weeks. What would happen when this all fell apart? When the pressure got too much and Evan decided being a family man wasn't worth the hassle? "I'm going to fix this," Evan said quietly to Maya. "I promise." "You can't fix this," Maya said. "This is what happens when regular people get mixed up with millionaires. I should have known better." "Maya." "I think you should go," Maya said. The words felt like glass in her throat, but she forced them out. "Just for tonight. Let me think about this." Evan looked like she'd slapped him. "You want me to leave?" "I want to protect my children," Maya said. "From reporters and gossip and people who think they know our business." "I'm not the enemy here," Evan said. "I know," Maya said. "But you're the reason this is happening." It was a cruel thing to say, and Maya regretted it immediately. But she was scared and angry and feeling trapped. Evan nodded stiffly. "I'll go. But this isn't over, Maya. We'll figure this out." After he left, Maya locked the door and slumped against it. The boys were still at the kitchen table, but they weren't doing homework anymore. They were whispering to each other with worried faces. "Mom," Noah said finally, "did Mr. Evan do something bad?" "No, sweetie," Maya said. "Mr. Evan didn't do anything bad." "Then why did you tell him to leave?" Eli asked. Maya didn't have a good answer for that. She sat down at the table with them and tried to explain. "Sometimes when people have different amounts of money, it causes problems," she said carefully. "Mr. Evan has a lot more money than we do, and some people think that's interesting enough to write stories about." "Like in the newspaper?" Aiden asked. "Something like that. But we don't want to be in the newspaper," Noah said. "I know, baby. That's why I'm trying to figure out how to make it stop." Eli was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "Is Mr. Evan not going to be our dad anymore?" Maya felt tears prick at her eyes. "I don't know, sweetheart. It's complicated." "Adults always say that," Eli said sadly. "But it's not complicated for kids. We just want him to stay." That night, After the boys were asleep, Maya sat in her living room and cried. She'd been so stupid to think this could work. Rich men didn't end up with single moms from the wrong side of town. That only happened in movies. In real life, there were reporters and gossips and people who thought they knew your story. Her phone, which she'd turned back on to check for emergencies, buzzed with a text from her cousin Tasha. "Girl, what is happening? Someone posted a photo of you and some white man on Facebook saying you're dating a millionaire. Call me now." Maya turned the phone off again. She couldn't deal with Tasha's questions tonight. She could barely deal with her own thoughts. Around midnight, she heard a soft knock at her door. She looked through the peephole and saw Evan standing there with 2 cups of coffee and a manila envelope. Against her better judgment, she opened the door. "I know you said you needed to think," Evan said quietly, "but I couldn't sleep knowing you were upset." "The boys are asleep," Maya said. "I'm not here for the boys," Evan said. "I'm here for you." Maya let him in, but she didn't sit down. She stood by the window, looking out at the city lights. "I talked to my lawyer," Evan said, "and building security." Mrs. Chen admitted she sent the photo to her daughter, who posted it on social media. "It went viral because someone recognized me from a business article." "So this is just the beginning," Maya said flatly. "Maybe. Or maybe it dies down if we don't feed it." Evan set the envelope on the coffee table. "My lawyer says we can demand that photos of the boys be taken down from social media. They're minors. They have privacy rights." "And what about us? Do we have privacy rights?" "Some, not as many." Evan was quiet for a moment. "Maya, I need to tell you something." Maya turned to look at him. He looked tired and worried. "What?" "My mother called tonight. She saw the photos. She knows about you and the boys." Maya's heart sank. "What did she say?" "She wants to meet with me tomorrow. Without you." "She has concerns." "What kind of concerns?" Evan looked uncomfortable. "The kind that rich mothers have when their sons get involved with unexpected situations." Maya laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. "Unexpected situations. Is that what we are?" "That's what she thinks you are," Evan said. "But she's wrong." "Is she?" Maya asked. "Because from where I'm standing, this feels pretty unexpected." Evan stood up and walked over to her. "Maya, look at me." She did, reluctantly. "You are not a situation to be managed," Evan said firmly. "You are not some problem I need to solve. You are the woman I was too stupid to fight for 5 years ago. And those boys? They're my sons, my family. Your mother doesn't see it that way." "My mother doesn't get to decide my life," Evan said. "I do." Maya wanted to believe him. But she'd been disappointed before. "What if she threatens to cut you off?" Maya asked. "What if she says you can't see her anymore if you stay with us?" "Then I guess I won't be seeing her anymore," Evan said without hesitation. Maya stared at him. "You'd choose us over your family?" "You are my family," Evan said. "You and Aiden and Noah and Eli. That's what I choose." Maya felt tears sliding down her cheeks. "This is all happening so fast. 2 weeks ago, you didn't even know they existed. Now you're ready to cut ties with your mother for us." 2 weeks ago, I was living half a life," Evan said. "Working all the time, coming home to an empty apartment, pretending I didn't miss you every single day. Now I have sons who run to me when they see me. I have a woman I never stopped loving letting me back into her life. Why would I give that up?" Maya wiped her eyes. "Because it's hard. Because there will be more reporters and more gossip and more people judging us." "So?" Evan asked. "Let them judge. Let them talk. They don't know us. They don't know our story. And your mother? What happens when you meet with her tomorrow?" "I tell her the truth," Evan said. "That I love you. That those are my children. That she can accept it or not, but it won't change anything." Maya looked at him for a long moment. This man who had once been too scared to commit to a simple relationship was now ready to fight his own family for her and the boys. "I'm scared," she admitted. "I'm scared too," Evan said. "But I'm more scared of losing you again." He reached into the envelope he'd brought and pulled out some papers. "What's that?" Maya asked. "Paternity test results," Evan said quietly. "I had them done." Maya's breath caught. "When?" "Last week. I used DNA from a cup Aiden drank from and a hair from Noah's brush and gum that Eli spit out." Evan looked sheepish. "I know I should have asked, but I needed to know for sure." Maya took the papers with shaking hands. The scientific words blurred together, but the conclusion was clear. 99.9% probability that Evan Hale was the biological father of all 3 boys. "Why didn't you tell me?" Maya asked. "Because it doesn't change anything," Evan said. "Whether those papers said yes or no, I was already all in. But I thought you might want to know for sure." Maya set the papers down and looked at Evan. "So what happens now?" "Now we decide if we're going to let other people's opinions scare us away from something good," Evan said, "or if we're going to fight for this family we're building." Maya thought about the boys, asleep in their beds, dreaming about soccer games and bedtime stories. They deserved a father. They deserved to feel safe and loved and protected. And maybe, just maybe, she deserved to be happy too. "Okay," she said quietly. "Okay, what?" "Okay, we fight," Maya said. "But no more secrets, no more doing things without telling me. If we're going to be a family, we have to trust each other completely." "Deal," Evan said immediately. "And I want to meet your mother." Evan looked surprised. "Are you sure?" "If she's going to be the boy's grandmother, then yes, I'm sure. I'd rather face her head on than wonder what she's thinking." Evan smiled for the first time all night. "She's not going to know what hit her." "Good," Maya said, "because I'm not the scared 23-year-old she probably expects me to be. I'm a mother protecting her children, and I don't back down from a fight when my kids are involved." Evan pulled her into his arms then, and Maya let him. For the first time in hours, she felt like maybe they really could handle whatever came next. As long as they faced it together. "I love you," Evan whispered against her hair. "I never stopped loving you." "I love you too," Maya whispered back. "Even when I was trying not to." They stood there holding each other in the quiet apartment, listening to the sounds of their sleeping children and planning their strategy for the battles ahead. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. There would be more photos, more gossip, more people who thought they knew their story. But tonight, for the first time in 5 years, Maya felt like she was exactly where she belonged, in the arms of the man she loved, fighting for the family they were building together. No matter what came next, they would face it as a team, and that was worth fighting for. The next morning came too soon. Maya woke up with butterflies in her stomach, knowing that today would change everything one way or another. Evan had gone back to his apartment around 2 in the morning, but not before they'd made a plan. He would meet with his mother first, alone, to set boundaries. Then, if Grace Hale wanted to meet Maya and the boys, it would be on their terms. Maya was getting the boys ready for school when her cousin Tasha showed up at her door. "Don't even think about not answering," Tasha called through the door. "I saw your car in the parking lot. I know you're in there." Maya sighed and opened the door. Tasha stood there with her arms crossed, wearing her "I'm about to get some answers" expression. "Auntie Tasha," Eli called from the kitchen table. "Come see my spelling words." Tasha's stern expression melted immediately. She loved these boys like they were her own. "Hey, baby boy," she said, giving Eli a hug. "Let me talk to your mama first. Then I'll check out those spelling words." Maya poured Tasha a cup of coffee and sat down across from her at the counter. "So," Tasha said without preamble, "you want to tell me why my cousin and her kids are all over Facebook with some rich white man, and why you didn't call me back last night?" "It's complicated," Maya started. "Maya Brooks, don't you dare give me that. It's complicated nonsense. I changed your baby's diapers. I held your hair back when you had morning sickness. I sat with you when you cried because their daddy never came back. So tell me, what's really going on?" Maya glanced at the boys, who were finishing their breakfast and getting their backpacks ready. "Remember Evan? From college? The one who broke your heart right before you found out you were pregnant?" Tasha's voice was dangerously quiet. "That's the one. And he's the man in the photos?" "Yes." Tasha was quiet for a long moment, processing this information. "So he knows," she said finally. "He knows. And what does he want?" Maya looked over at the boys, who were now putting on their shoes. "He wants to be their father. And he wants," she paused, feeling heat rise in her cheeks, "he wants us to be a family." "And what do you want?" Tasha asked gently. Before Maya could answer, there was a knock at the door. Maya looked through the peephole and saw Evan standing there with 3 lunch boxes and a worried expression. "That's him," Maya told Tasha. "Good," Tasha said, standing up. "I want to meet this man who thinks he can just waltz back into your life." Maya opened the door. "Hi." The boys forgot their lunch boxes. "No, I packed them lunch boxes," Evan said. "I thought. I wanted to make sure they had something good to eat today." He paused when he saw Tasha standing behind Maya with her arms crossed. "You must be Tasha. I'm Evan. I know who you are." Tasha said coolly. Tasha, Maya warned. It's okay, Evan said. She has every right to be protective of you. Damn right I do, Tasha said. Where were you 5 years ago when Maya was working 2 jobs and taking night classes and raising 3 babies by herself? I was being a coward, Evan said without hesitation, and I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry I wasn't there when Maya needed me. Tasha blinked, clearly not expecting such a direct answer. And now? She pressed. What makes you think you deserve a second chance? I don't deserve it, Evan said, but I'm hoping Maya will give me one anyway, because I love her, and I love those boys, and I want to spend the rest of my life proving that I'm not the same man who walked away before. Pretty words, Tasha said, but what happens when things get hard? When the boys are sick, or Maya's stressed, or the money gets tight? What happens when your rich friends start looking at you funny for dating a single mom? Then I deal with it, Evan said firmly, because that's what fathers do. That's what partners do. They show up, even when it's hard. Maya saw something shift in Tasha's expression. She was still protective, but she was listening now. Mr. Evan, Aiden called from the kitchen. Did you bring us lunch? I did, buddy, Evan said, holding up the lunch boxes. I made peanut butter and jelly for you, turkey and cheese for Noah, and ham and cheese for Eli. How did you know what we like? Noah asked, appearing at Evan's elbow. I asked your mom, Evan said, and I paid attention. Eli bounced over to see his lunchbox. Does it have the chips I like? The baked ones, not the fried ones, Evan confirmed, and apple slices with the peel cut off, just how you like them. Maya felt her throat get tight. These were small details, but they mattered. They showed that Evan was really listening, really trying to learn who her boys were. We better go, Maya said, checking the time. Don't want to be late for school. As they walked to school together, Maya, Evan, Tasha, and the 3 boys. Maya noticed people looking at them. Some were just curious. Others whispered behind their hands. Ignore them, Tasha said quietly to Maya. People always got something to say about other people's business. I know, Maya said, but it was still hard. At the school, Miss Delgado greeted them with her usual warm smile. Brooks boys, ready for another great day? Yes, ma'am, they chorused. And Mr. Hale, Miss Delgado said to Evan, so nice to see you again. Actually, Aiden said suddenly, his name is Mr. Hale, but he's our dad. Miss Delgado's eyebrows went up slightly, but she just smiled. Well, that's wonderful. It's always nice when families find their way to each other. After the boys were safely in their classroom, Tasha pulled Maya aside. Okay, she said, I like him. You do? Maya was surprised. I don't want to like him, Tasha said, but he remembered that Eli likes his apple peels cut off, and he looked those nosy people right in the eye and didn't act ashamed to be walking with you. That counts for something. Thanks, Tasha, but if he hurts you or those boys, I will end him, Tasha added seriously. I know, Maya said, hugging her cousin. I love you too. While Maya was at work doing deliveries, Evan met with his mother at an expensive restaurant downtown. Grace Hale was an elegant woman in her late 50s who was used to getting her way. You look tired, she said as soon as Evan sat down. Hello to you too, Mom, Evan said. Don't be smart with me, Evan. We need to talk about this situation. If by situation you mean my girlfriend and my sons, then yes, let's talk. Grace's lips tightened. 3 children, Evan. Triplets. Do you have any idea what kind of responsibility that is? I'm starting to learn, Evan said calmly. And this woman, Maya, what do you really know about her? It's very convenient that she shows up now, after you've made your money. She didn't show up, Mom. I found her, by accident, and she's been raising my sons for 5 years without asking me for a single penny. Your sons, Grace repeated. Are you sure about that? Evan pulled the paternity test results from his jacket and placed them on the table. Grace read them with pursed lips. DNA tests can be faked, she said finally. Mom, Evan's voice was sharp now. Look at them. They look exactly like me. They have my dimples, my eyes, my way of thinking about things. They're mine. Grace was quiet for a moment, stirring her coffee. Even if they are, she said finally, that doesn't mean you have to marry their mother. You can be involved in their lives without tying yourself down to someone so unsuitable. Unsuitable how? She's a delivery driver, Evan. She lives in a subsidized apartment. She has 3 children and no husband. What will people think? I don't care what people think, Evan said. And Maya isn't unsuitable for anything. She's smart and strong, and she raised 3 amazing boys by herself while working and going to school. She's the strongest person I know. You're being naive, Grace said. This kind of thing never works out. The class differences, the money issues, the judgment from your business associates. Then I'll find new business associates, Evan said simply. Grace stared at him. You can't be serious. I'm completely serious, Evan said. Mom, I love Maya. I love those boys. They're my family now. You can be part of that family or not. But you don't get to choose who I love. And if I can't accept this, Grace asked, what then? Evan felt sadness wash over him. He loved his mother, but he couldn't let her control his life anymore. Then I guess we won't see much of each other, he said quietly. Grace's eyes filled with tears. You would choose them over me? I'm not choosing anyone over anyone, Evan said. I'm choosing love over fear. I'm choosing family over other people's opinions. I wish you could understand that. They sat in silence for several minutes. Finally, Grace spoke. What are they like? She asked quietly. The boys. Evan's face lit up. They're incredible. Aiden is this thoughtful little scientist who asks a million questions and worries about everything. Noah is quiet, but he notices everything and has the biggest heart. Eli is fearless and funny and thinks he can fix any problem. Despite herself, Grace smiled a little. They sound like you when you were little. They are like me, Evan said. But they're like Maya too. They're kind and resilient, and they look out for each other. Grace was quiet again, thinking. I suppose, she said finally, if I wanted to meet them, it would have to be on their mother's terms. Yes, Evan said. Maya is very protective of them, and after some of the things that have been said about her online, she's not feeling very trusting of new people right now. What kinds of things? Grace asked, frowning. Evan told her about the photos, the gossip, the reporter who had called. That's terrible, Grace said, sounding genuinely upset. Those children don't deserve to be treated like a circus show. No, they don't, Evan agreed. Grace was quiet for a long moment, then reached for her phone. What are you doing? Evan asked. Calling my lawyer, Grace said briskly. If someone is harassing my grandsons, that needs to stop immediately. Evan blinked. Your grandsons? Grace looked at him with watery eyes. Well, they are, aren't they? Whether I like it or not. Mum, don't get sentimental, Grace said, but she was wiping her eyes. I just want to meet them properly, and their mother, to apologize for the things I said. Are you sure? Evan asked. No, Grace said honestly, but I don't want to lose you, and if they make you happy, then I want to try to understand why. That afternoon, Evan called Maya while she was on her lunch break. How did it go? She asked immediately. Better than expected, Evan said. She wants to meet you, and the boys, to apologize. Maya was quiet for so long that Evan thought the call had dropped. Maya? You there? I'm here, she said. I'm just surprised. Me too, Evan admitted, but I think she means it. She called her lawyer about getting those photos taken down. Really? Really. She was upset that the boys were being talked about online. Maya felt a small spark of hope. Maybe this could work after all. When does she want to meet? Maya asked. Whenever you're ready. She said it should be on your terms. Maya thought about it. The boys would be curious about their grandmother, and if Grace was really willing to apologize, maybe they could all find a way to be a family. Tomorrow, Maya said. After school. At the park near the apartment. Somewhere public, so the boys feel safe. I'll call her, Evan said. Maya. Yeah? I love you. Whatever happens, remember that. I love you too, Maya said softly. The next day, Maya was more nervous than she'd been since the boys were born. She'd changed clothes 3 times and finally settled on jeans and a nice sweater. Casual but put together. The boys were excited about meeting their grandmother, though they weren't entirely sure what that meant. Is she nice? Aiden asked as they walked to the park. I hope so, Maya said honestly. Will she like us? Noah wondered. How could she not like you? Evan said, taking Noah's hand. You guys are the best kids in the world. Are you nervous? Mr. Evan? Eli asked. A little bit, Evan admitted. It's important to me that you guys like each other. They reached the park and found Grace sitting on a bench, looking as nervous as Maya felt. She was dressed more casually than Maya had expected. Nice pants and a cardigan instead of the business suit Maya had imagined. That's her, Evan said quietly. Grace stood up when she saw them coming. Maya could see the family resemblance immediately. Evan had her eyes and her careful way of carrying herself. Maya, Grace said, walking toward them. Thank you for agreeing to meet with me. Mrs. Hale, Maya replied politely. Please, call me Grace. She looked down at the boys, who were hiding slightly behind Maya and Evan. And you must be Aiden, Noah, and Eli. How did you know which one was which? Eli asked, stepping forward with his usual boldness. Your father described you all to me, Grace said with a small smile. He said Eli was the brave one who asks all the questions. Eli grinned. That's me. And Noah is the thoughtful one who notices everything, Grace continued, looking at the middle triplet. Noah smiled shyly and moved a step closer. And Aiden is the careful one who thinks about everything twice before he decides. Grace finished. That's right, Aiden said, pleased that she'd remembered. Grace looked back at Maya. Before anything else, I owe you an apology. I said some unkind things about you without knowing anything about who you are. That was wrong of me. Maya was surprised by how sincere Grace sounded. Thank you. That means a lot. I also want you to know that my lawyer has been working to get those photos removed from social media. Children should never be subjected to that kind of attention. You did that? Maya asked. Of course I did, Grace said firmly. They're my grandsons. No one talks about my grandsons that way. Eli tugged on Grace's cardigan. Are you really our grandma? I am, Grace said, kneeling down to his level. If you'd like me to be. Do you have toys at your house? Eli asked, seriously. Grace laughed. Not yet, but I could get some. Do you like soccer? Noah asked. I don't know much about it, Grace admitted, but I'd like to learn. We could teach you, Aiden offered shyly. I would like that very much, Grace said. Maya watched the interaction with growing amazement. This wasn't the cold, judgmental woman she'd expected. This was a grandmother meeting her grandsons for the first time. Boys, why don't you go play on the swings for a few minutes? Maya suggested. Stay where we can see you. The boys ran off to the playground, and the three adults sat down on the bench. They're wonderful, Grace said, watching the boys. They're so well-behaved and polite. Maya did all of that, Evan said proudly. She raised them to be good kids. Grace turned to Maya. I need to ask you something, and I hope you'll be honest with me. Maya tensed up. Okay, do you love my son? Maya looked at Evan, then back at Grace. Yes, I do. I always have. And you're not interested in his money? I was planning to raise those boys without any help from anyone, Maya said firmly. I've been doing fine on my own. I don't need Evan's money. Grace nodded. That's what I thought. Evan told me about your job and your night classes. You're working toward a business degree? Yes. I want to open my own bakery someday. That's wonderful, Grace said. Small businesses are the backbone of the economy. They sat in comfortable silence for a moment, watching the boys play. I have a confession, Grace said finally. What's that? Evan asked. I've already fallen in love with them, Grace said, gesturing toward the boys. Look at them. They have your stubborn chin, Evan. And Maya, that one over there, she pointed to Noah, has your eyes exactly. Maya felt tears prick at her eyes. They're pretty special. They are, Grace agreed. And you've done a beautiful job raising them. Thank you, Maya said softly. Eli ran back over to them, out of breath from playing. Grandma Grace, he said, trying out the title. Do you want to see how high I can swing? I would love to see that, Grace said, standing up. Come on. Eli grabbed her hand and pulled her toward the swings. Maya and Evan watched as Grace let Eli show her around the playground. She admired his swing skills and let Noah teach her about the monkey bars. When Aiden got tired and needed to sit down, she sat with him and listened while he told her about his favorite books. She's not what I expected, Maya said to Evan. She's not what I expected either, Evan replied. I think becoming a grandmother has changed her. Or maybe she just needed to see that we're real people, not some abstract problem to solve. Maybe, Evan agreed. After an hour at the park, Grace checked her watch. I should probably get going, she said reluctantly. But I hope we can do this again soon. We'd like that, Maya said. Wouldn't we, boys? Yes, all three boys said at once. Can you come to our apartment next time? Aiden asked. I want to show you my books. I would love to see your books, Grace said. And I want to show you my soccer trophies, Eli added. And I want to show you how I can draw airplanes, Noah chimed in. Grace's eyes filled with tears again. I can't wait to see all of those things. As they walked back toward their building, Grace fell into step beside Maya. Thank you, Grace said quietly, for giving me a chance and for raising such wonderful boys. Thank you for loving them, Maya replied. That's all I've ever wanted, for them to have people who love them. They have that now, Grace said, in abundance. That evening, after the boys had gone to bed, Maya and Evan sat on his couch talking about the day. I can't believe how well that went, Maya said. Your mom was so different than I expected. She likes you, Evan said. I could tell. I like her too, Maya admitted. She's tough, but she's fair, and she clearly adores the boys already. They adore her too, Evan said. Did you see Eli holding her hand at the playground? Maya smiled. He doesn't trust people easily, but he trusted her right away. They were quiet for a moment, just enjoying the peace of having everything finally falling into place. Maya, Evan said softly, can I ask you something? Always. Where do we go from here? I mean, we've got the kids, my mother approves. Tasha likes me. What's next? Maya looked at him seriously. What do you want to be next? I want us to be a real family, Evan said. Not just for the boys, but for us. I want to wake up in the same house as you every morning. I want to help with homework and bedtime stories and middle-of-the-night fevers. I want to grow old with you. Maya felt her heart do that fluttery thing it had been doing more and more lately. Are you saying what I think you're saying? She asked. I'm saying I want to marry you, Evan said simply. When you're ready, whenever you're ready. I just want you to know that's where my heart is. Maya was quiet for so long that Evan started to worry. Too fast? He asked. I know it's only been a few weeks since we found each other again. It's not too fast, Maya said softly. It's just, are you sure? Really sure? Because those boys have already decided you're their dad. If you change your mind— I won't change my mind, Evan interrupted. Maya, I've wasted 5 years of our lives because I was too scared to commit to anything real. I'm not making that mistake again. And the reporters? The gossip? People saying I'm a gold digger? Let them say whatever they want, Evan said firmly. The people who matter know the truth. The people who don't matter don't get a vote in our lives. Maya looked at him for a long moment, seeing the man he'd become. Steady, sure, present. Okay, she said quietly. Okay, what? Okay. Let's be a real family, Maya said. Let's get married and wake up in the same house and do all the ordinary, wonderful family things together. Evan's face lit up like Christmas morning. He pulled her into his arms and spun her around the living room. Really? He asked, setting her down. Really, Maya said, laughing. Should we tell the boys tonight? Tomorrow, Maya said. Let's tell them together when they get home from school. I can't wait to see their faces, Evan said. They're going to be so excited, Maya agreed. Eli's probably going to want to plan the wedding. Can I ask you one more thing? Evan said. What? Can we have more kids someday? I know 3 is a lot, but I missed so much with the boys. Maya felt tears spring to her eyes. You want more children? With you? I want everything, Evan said. More kids, family vacations, Christmas mornings, teenage eye-rolling, grandchildren someday. All of it. I want all of that too, Maya whispered. They held each other in the quiet living room, planning their future and marveling at how much their lives had changed in just a few weeks. Outside, the city hummed with its usual nighttime energy, but inside Evan's apartment, everything was peaceful and right. Tomorrow they would tell the boys about the wedding. They would start planning a life together. They would face whatever challenges came next as a team. But tonight, they just held each other and felt grateful for second chances and wrong door deliveries and little boys who weren't afraid to call a stranger Dad. 6 months later, Maya Brooks became Maya Hale in a small ceremony in the park where the boys had first met their grandmother. The boys served as ring bearers, wearing matching blue suits and huge grins. Tasha was Maya's maid of honor, and she cried through the entire ceremony. Grace sat in the front row, dabbing at her eyes with a lace handkerchief and beaming with pride. Do you, Maya, take Evan to be your husband? The minister asked. I do, Maya said, looking into Evan's eyes. And do you, Evan, take Maya to be your wife? I do, Evan said firmly. And do you, Aiden, Noah, and Eli, accept Evan as your father? We do, the boys shouted in unison, making everyone laugh. Then by the power vested in me, I pronounce you husband and wife and family. You may kiss the bride, Evan kissed Maya while the boys cheered and the small group of family and friends applauded. "We did it," Maya whispered against Evan's lips. "We sure did, Mrs. Hale," Evan whispered back. "Team 5 forever," Eli shouted, and soon everyone was chanting it. As they walked back down the aisle together, Maya and Evan hand in hand, the boys skipping beside them, Maya thought about how much had changed since that wrong door delivery just months ago. She'd been so scared to trust again, so afraid of getting hurt. But sometimes the best things in life came from taking chances, from opening doors, from believing that love was stronger than fear. Looking at her husband and her sons and their bright future together, Maya knew she'd made the right choice. They were exactly where they belonged, together. 1 year later, the Hale family welcomed baby girl, Emma Rose. Aidan, Noah, and Eli were the best big brothers anyone could ask for. They still lived across the hall from Maya's old apartment, but now they used both spaces, Evan's for family gatherings and Maya's as an office for her growing bakery business. Grace Hale was the world's most devoted grandmother, teaching the boys about business and letting them help her bake cookies every Sunday. Tasha remained the family's fiercest protector and Emma's favorite aunt. And every morning, Maya woke up in Evan's arms, listened to the sounds of their children getting ready for school, and thanked whatever force in the universe had sent that delivery driver to the wrong door. Sometimes the best families are found in the most unexpected ways. Sometimes love really does get a second chance, and sometimes a wrong door delivery leads to exactly the right life.